Doug Gansler, the banks already set aside this money, expecting to have to pay eventually, which raises this question, a kind of corollary to Joe's question. Are the banks getting off too easily?
And it's a great question. We just did a event at the United States Department of Justice, and some of the questions were, this is, you're hitting the banks too hard. This is just for origination and servicing. The big claims are going to come on the securitization and other pieces, and then people say, well, you're letting them off too easy. The fact of the matter is, it's a completely appropriate settlement. They're getting whacked. It's a huge number of dollars coming in directly to people to help them out of their crisis situation, and at the very without giving up much. So yes, they expected this because they were part of the negotiations. So they were able to take some of the money and put it in escrow because it's an enormous amount of money to put aside to put into these states. So were they able to? Do they have time to prepare for this? Yeah. Are they now whining about going under? Sure. I have no sympathy for the banks, particularly given the conduct that led to the foreclosure crisis, much of which was insidious behavior by the banks.
But this deal was moved a couple of different times, in particular to try to convince the attorney generals of New York and California, Delaware to join the settlement. Why were they reluctant to join?
They were reluctant because the reluctance and the people holding out, including myself, I made the decision to join in an hour before the deadline because I saw what was happening and the deal was getting better and better for us. If you remember, just a couple of months ago, the total was $5 billion reported, and now today it's $26 billion. So we were able to get a better deal from the banks without giving up jurisdiction over things like securitization and criminal conduct. So I think that's why the states were holding out. They're really heroes in this, because this is a deal like no other. Look, you kill somebody, they make a decision how many years you're going to spend in jail. It's not going to bring that person back to life. Here, the bank engaged in this very horrible conduct in what they were doing in terms of getting these loans, these subprime loans, but the money is going directly to their own victims to make them closer to hold, to make them have the ability to stay in their homes. So it took till the very last minute to get California on board, and New York. New York is much more concerned, as they might be, because the banks are operate out of New York regarding the securitization. What did these banks then do with these loans? How do they package them up and sell them to institutional investors and individual investors so that they lost their money as well? And what is the recourse? And now we have full recourse available to us as we go forward.
The benefits that are coming to homeowners who were foreclosed on or who find themselves underwater come as a result of the tough negotiations by state attorneys general here. And in case you're wondering, why do they negotiate so toughly? Well, a few months back, one Doug Gansler told us a joke that has stuck with me. You're part of the National Association of Attorneys General, which goes by the initials NAAG. Apparently, some people say this really stands for the National Association of Aspiring Governors. This is a tough and ambitious bunch of people.
This is, and it's interesting, the people who held out the longest, ironically or interestingly, and if you look at who they are in the states, were prosecutors. So Kamala Harris in California, she was the DA. Bo Biden in Delaware is the DA. I was obviously an assistant United States attorney and the state's attorney here. So Martha Coakley, Massachusetts, DA. These are the states that were reluctant to go on because we see bad conduct and we want people to be punished. We were not willing to give up a soft deal. So yes, and we'll be working with our governor partners in this deal and others, and so I think it's we're there to represent the people, and I think this was what exactly happened in this case.